Well, hello, sunshines! My name is Alan. I am your other co-host for Zelda Universe's new series, Zelda 101, a deep dive into everything Legend of Zelda related. Last week, Alex gave you guys a lesson on the CDI games, but this week, I figured I'd let you guys know about some of the basic building blocks of the series, namely, our three main characters, Link, Zelda, and Ganon. So join us as we break down the Zelda series into bite-sized pieces. Get out your pens and notepads, class is in session. This is Zelda 101. So last week, as I said, Alex taught you guys about the Zelda CDI games, spin-off of the franchise that some of us like to bury deep down and can only be reached out once a year or in therapy. Me. But in doing so with our inaugural episode, we kind of forgot some of the basic building blocks of the series. Our main trio, Link, Zelda, and Ganon. Once you understand these three forces, you can understand a lot about the games in general. In every Zelda series to date, you'll find the hero clad in green pointy hat and tunic. There are 13 versions of Link spanning across the entire series, where multiple games having the same Link. Link is sometimes a child, yes, actually a child, to even a young adult age, who stands up for the world against evil. So, basic kid stuff, basic millennial kid stuff. Link is athletic, musically inclined, wears a lot of green, eats a lot of food but keeps a great figure, is a sleepyhead, and more often than not has blue eyes and shaggy brown to blonde hair. Sadly, in most cases, Link is an orphan. In some games, he does have family, like in Wind Waker, he has a sister and a grandma. In A Link to the Past, he has an uncle. There are instances throughout the series of Link having family members, but it's never his father or mother and canonical material. In essence, Link is Batman. Link also goes through a few transformations, and I'm not just talking about puberty, because in one game, he literally goes through puberty in his sleep. I wish I did. In Majora's Mask, Link utilizes masks, of course, to help save the day. These masks are from fallen allies. He literally puts on a dead person's face, and he transforms into that person. He brings order to a chaos left by an irresponsible imp. In A Link to the Past, he turns into a pink bunny rabbit, and in Twilight Princess, he turns into a wolf. So really, what I'm not trying to say here, through all of my might, is that Link might be a furry, but we need that PG rating. And if he's not transforming into animals, he's riding them. Oh god. His trusty steed Epona, who appears in many games and is unfortunately subjugated to the renaming wills of teenagers, and his trusty Loftwing, who only appears in The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, but is thought to be the bird-like crest on the Hyrulean shield all throughout the series. Speaking of shields, Link is bona fide weapons master. If you give Link a weapon, there's a high chance things are gonna die. Anyway, from bombs, grappling hooks, he's an amazing archer, to even magic, and that's not even bringing up the Master Sword, one of the most key items in the entire series. What binds all these links together, the common thing between them all though, is the spirit of the hero, that courageous spirit within themselves that forces them to stand up against evil. Link's name originally comes from the assertion that they are the link between past and present. That was the original idea for the first Zelda game, but it didn't turn out that way. Instead, Link's name now means a link between the game and you, the player. Moving on to the namesake of the series, Princess Zelda. Princess Zelda is one of the rulers of Hyrule, powerful user of magic, and most importantly, Link's friend. That was so cheesy, Alan. In most cases, you have Princess Zelda, never Queen Zelda. In the games, she's never a queen. She might be the only ruler at the time, but she's never named queen. She is always Princess Zelda. And not every game is she a princess. For instance, in Wind Waker, she's a pirate named Tetra. The relationship she has with Link varies from game to game. In Twilight Princess, she has a monarch and her knight sort of feel. In the Minish Cap, Link and Zelda are the best of friends from childhood, and in Skyward Sword, they're lovers. You can't tell me any other way that they didn't love each other if one of their themes together was literally called Romance Theme. There's no way you can tell me otherwise. And just like Link, her age varies from game to game, but usually stays in the same line as Link. So if Link is a young adult, Zelda's a young adult. There's never a weird power dynamic of age between them. You can say that their ages are linked together. They are a dynamic duo of love, light, and destruction. of evil. It's a really good point to add. Many see Zelda as just another damsel in distress, and many times, yes, she is captured against her will, and the only way to free her is with Link's might, but it cannot be discredited that she is her own character, and that she is doing a lot of the behind-the-scenes things, and most importantly, she's very powerful. She's often the wielder or the bestower of the Bow of Light, has possessed suits of armor before, and any time in the series where there are sages or maidens or people of magical power, Zelda is always the leader of them. She is always the final key. She is the source of light within them. Zelda is very wise, but at times very stupid, which comes from being born a royal with a lot of magical powers, but more often than not, very wise. There's a reason why she's the namesake of the series, but we don't want to jump into that quite yet, as we're only trying to talk about the building blocks in this video, and I'm sorry, don't worry, we have this planned. I'm just trying to teach you guys the basics, and that would go overboard with the basics. But really, at the end of the day, you could say that Zelda is truly divine. In the deserts of Hyrule, there live a tribe of Amazonian-like women called the Gerudo. They're an all-women tribe. Men completely forbidden. Not allowed. Not gonna happen. Every few hundred years or so, give or take, you know, a year or two, a man is born within them. But that's never celebrated. No, because that man turns really evil. Pretty evil. Super evil. There's no going back. He's evil. We're not sure why the Gerudo are always plagued by this reoccurring man bringing destruction, but I guess this is kind of an allegory for the patriarchy, but you know, I digress. Ganon is the gift that keeps giving back that no one wants and everyone tries to throw away. No, I don't want an avocado for Christmas. I might be a millennial, but I really don't care for avocados that much. He takes on many forms, mostly a man or a pig. There is a lot of imagery that you can play around with that about men being pigs, but again, not the topic right now. And the reason why he's able to go toe-to-toe with Link all the time is by some divine prank. He is given this immeasurable amount of power. As if the universe was trying to tip the scales just a slight bit between the forces of good and the forces of evil. But is Ganon always evil? Yes. There's only one instance where you could have minor sympathy for Ganon, and that comes down to the Legend of Zelda Windbreaker. Towards the very end, before your final fight with Ganon, he reveals that he coveted the winds of Hyrule, those rolling green fields. The winds touched him and caressed him, whereas the winds of his desert, where he was from, during the day they were scorching and ruthless, and at night they chilled you to the bone. There was never-ending torture with those winds. With the winds of Hyrule, he wanted those winds. And so you can sympathize with him because of the torture he went through in the desert. But then he came back and he tried to take over the land of Hyrule. So it's like, feel bad for ya, still a villain. Ganon is powerful. He's cunning. He's always one step ahead of Link and Zelda. And while 95% of the time he loses, there's still that 5% of the time that he wins. There are instances where Ganon wins. Link dies at the hands of darkness, and light fails. For a time being, it always comes back and saves the day one way or another. And maybe it's because he's the embodiment of evil, and maybe it's because of something else, but it always feels as though Ganon knows what is happening. Ganon knows that it will always be a Zelda and a Link together. Ganon is always one step ahead of Link and Zelda. It takes the combined effort of the dynamic duo of light to defeat this one person of darkness, this pig, this entity of darkness. Reincarnation is the thing. These three are locked in what I can call a divine curse. The aspects of Link, Zelda, and Ganon, the courage of the hero, the wisdom of the ruler, and the power of the forces of evil, are building blocks of the entire series. No matter which game, no matter which characters are in it, these three aspects are present. They are the basic building blocks of the Legend of Zelda series. And that's what I've been trying to tell you this entire time as I've dug deep into character juiciness. There's a lot we could have gone over, but don't you worry. Alex and I will cover them in future videos to come. All you have to do is make sure you click that notification bell, that subscribe button, and make sure you give this a like. But before you go, before you do all those things, you are going to be quizzed. I'm not gonna sit here and teach all this stuff without quizzing you. I'm in America. We believe in tests. So in the comments down below, answer me these 3 questions. Number 1, what are 2 animals that Link can transform into? Number 2, what kingdom is Princess Zelda ruler of? And number 3, where is Ganon from? My name is Alan. If you want to see my beautiful face again, you can check out my social media links down below, including my own YouTube channel, What Alan Says, a slice of life channel where I give you a slice of life. Man, I need to work on my branding. We will see you again soon. Bye!